Alrighty guys, I want to give you an update on the CEN. Here we are. So I went ahead and basically did a lot. I didn't video much. Front end's redone. Everything needs to be aligned, but I'm going to do that once I have basically everything hooked up, because it's just twisting rods and whatnot and they pop off. They're accessible. With everything, with the wheels off, everything's accessible. So where I'm at right now is getting servos set. What's crazy is all the original electronics worked. The servo, one of them was like locked up. I smacked it a couple times and it ended up breaking loose from whatever was in there. I can't use one of the servos because the here, I think it's right here. This is somehow loose. It's like cut. Can't really see there it is. See how there's a slit in it? I don't know how that happens, but it happened. I'm not gonna break that off. I'm gonna try to get it back together somehow, some way. Probably won't happen. Servo works though, which is crazy. That's the one I had to smack to get it. I should have checked that first. I should have just thrown it out, but I want to try to fix it because it's original. The other one does work, and I'm putting it in for the steering as we speak. And yeah, let's get to that. The gas tank was cleaned out, mounted to the top plate as well. And I made everything kind of accessible from the top, so if I have to replace anything, it's real simple. Honestly, after doing some more research, like I said before in previous videos, I did some more research over the weekend. These cars really do not exist. They're extremely rare, and there's a lot of guys that have them, but they have broken parts and they are no longer able to drive them because they're cooked. Like you can't find parts for them. You're talking to my chest. What the heck's going on? So in that case, I might just shelf it after it runs. I don't feel like running it like my NTC, which I think I'm going to shelf that one after I get it dialed in, only because the same reason. These cars are getting to be more vintage than they are fun. So if like something breaks, you're kind of just crap out of luck, and it's like, well, it's no longer usable. You can always jerry rig things, but I don't really like doing that, especially with original equipment. If it's vintage like this or classic, I don't feel like ruining it. It's like breaking history, so don't feel like doing that. Anyway, let's try to get this servo set. This is the hardest part because it's an under. You see what I'm doing? I have to go under to get the servo horn on. Then I got to take the top plate off, turn it to the side, and put the screw in. Just like that. But kind of a non-user-friendly design. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, and I'm somehow not doing it. Not understanding how. The front end's way out of alignment, horribly. There we go. Now I can mount this. And I should have steering now. It's exciting. This thing's got steering for the first time in probably a decade is how dirty this thing was. Everything's greased, so everything spins pretty nicely. Let's get that screwed down. Everything moves really nicely, actually. The shocks are amazing. I went through them and they were almost empty. Some of them, the two fronts were almost empty. I filled them, cleaned them, and filled them, and they're awesome. They rebound perfectly without springs on them, which means that the shocks are good. So, get a little bit of hardware here to go through. Yeah. That's for the other servo. The guy I bought it off of just kind of threw the screws all together, so I'm deciphering which go where. There's some fine thread screws and they're like coarse threads. So you just gotta fight your way through which one goes where. But yeah, I'm really excited to drive this thing. I've never driven a rear-wheel drive on-road nitro RC car. I'm sure it's going to be dang near the same as a four-wheel drive, but I could be completely wrong. I'm super excited though, nonetheless. And if all goes well, I'll probably just shelf it and try to find the original body for it, which I took off the body mounts and saved them only because they're kind of in the way. And it looks tacky not having a body on it. So I'm just going to run it without the body and go from there. But man, am I excited. Two more. I'm missing screws here. I don't want to mismatch screws, so I'm gonna get my own. Yeah, some of the original hardware is missing. I'll go ahead and replace it with at least matching hardware. I don't have the motor mount bolts. I have a bunch of extras. I just don't have them for this rig. All I have left are coarse thread now. There's fine thread for the motor mounts, so I should probably figure that out now. Yeah, I've got a bunch of motor mount bolts. I'm not worried about that. But I'm just looking at that pile there going, I have nothing. Yeah, that's fine. I still got a mock-up of pull starter for that, which I bought some cheap Amazon one. I might just pull the spring out of this, rewind that one with the spring from this one, and see if that works. But then I risk ruining this one, which it's Chinese, so it's like $8. It doesn't matter, honestly. But what was it doing? Oh yeah. Still anti-seizing every single solitary screw, which, despite the vibration of the nitro, I've lost 0 screws from doing this. The TA is every inch of it. I did the same thing to that I did to this. And it just makes working on it way easier. You don't strip things out. You don't round off hex bolts. It makes life a breeze. So, despite what people may think, if you just tighten it down right, you're not going to lose the bolt. Especially even during vibrations and all. You won't lose it. But to each their own. I just, with something this old, I don't want to take my chances in stripping out hardware and whatnot, or rounding off tops. I think 3 of them I've had to notch them so that I could get a flathead on them, because they were like basically rust welded into where they were. But not many needed that to happen. This is for the other servo. Once again, I think I'm missing hardware. Well, it's like mismatched hardware. I don't really feel like using that. I like everything to be uniform, once again. There we go. It was weird. I got into the front end and I expected there to be a differential until like it was fully apart. I realized that obviously this is only rear wheel drive. Most RC cars I've taken apart are 4-wheel drive. Almost all of them have been. Other than like way back when I would work on like rustlers and slashes, but this is different. So all we have left to do is throttle linkage, Pole starter, mount the motor, and throttle linkage is going to be the worst. I hate trying to adjust throttle linkage. It took me forever to get the TA correct, and I mean a really long time to get it correct, because as you would hit the gas, there's a return spring. So if you would go gas and then you let off the gas, sorry, you'd go on the brake and you'd let off the brake, and it would open the carburetor just a little bit, so it would stop, it would go down to idle, and as soon as you let off the brake to neutral, it would start to like slowly take off because it opened the carb a bit. And it turns out if you go on the gas and then let out, it'll go to neutral just fine. But as soon as you went to brake, which it goes onto a spring, or pushes down a spring, as soon as you would let off, that spring would push it further than where the neutral spot would be if you just hammered the gas and let out to neutral. So that spring would push it past and open the carb back up. So I had to move, I think it was like the stop, I guess the bump stop essentially up a little further. But I don't know how I did it. I still don't understand what I did, but I fixed it. I think I understand it. I don't know how to explain it very well. So I'm just hoping this one isn't as problematic, because it was so annoying. Anyhows, put that into the box. I am freaking so excited to get this thing to run. I want to hear the motor more than anything. Uh-oh. That also is a problem. The black piece is really loose on this, and now it's missing. So I'm sure I have other ones I can put on, but I don't feel like doing that. Oh well, I'll find it. Bother me that's missing. I can pull, if for some reason it's loose on the other servo, I'll just steal it from the other servo for now until I fix that one, or until it pops up. All right, I might be at a stopping point. Nope, I need to throw another servo in, but I gotta test it first and make sure it is good. I've got to put a pole starter on a 15 I have, sitting up on a shelf. I've never heard it run. And I bought the 15 to put on the TA, but I fixed the TA before it even came, but I thought I'd just keep it because I would need to throw it on the other motor. So throw a tuba on in there. Where did that piece go, man? That sucks. It's gonna be a bear to find. It's on the floor, that is. It's working. Yep. All right. Got to bench test it before you throw it in. All right, I got to look at a picture here. See how this was oriented. Okay. I barely got a photo of the linkage, so putting that back on is going to be a blast. I'm so excited to screw that up. I have it soaking in PB or Aerocroil for about 4 days. Most of the guys online said their spur gear stripped out. And that's what has kept theirs shelved for so long. So that tells me that there's been a spur gear issue with this car for a while. Or like it's very common to have a spur gear issue. I don't know if people just don't know how to mesh it right. I rarely ever have spur gear issues. The only time was the first time it happened on a Slash, and I think that was because I did not mesh it right. I didn't know what mesh was. I just kind of threw the gear in and assumed it just lined itself up. But I don't know. And the other time was just too much power. I never do metal spur gears. Not once in my time have I had a metal spur gear on any of my vehicles, only because I want that to be the weak point rather than the differential. I lied. Spur gear that was metal was the Team Associated RC8 I had. Where'd that go? I gotta get a new bench top because I keep losing things. Found it. That one had a metal spur gear, and like I said, I would go through differentials on that thing like crazy. I think I went through 3 differentials on that. Dog gears, it was. Okay, so we got our throttle linkage in. I mean, our throttle servo, steering servo. I mean, this thing's basically ready to be motor in and then drive it. I might be at a stopping point here. I'm not really sure if I want to go any further. I got to do the pull starter, and that's going to be a different thing. No sense in putting the... I guess I could do that. The exhaust where it should be. Which this is bent. Really don't know how the exhaust hanger is supposed to be on this thing, but I think it's supposed to be further in. I don't know. I gotta look that up too, so I'm not even worried about that. Yeah, I don't know. I think throttle linkage, pull starter, and then put the motor in, and that's it. So I think I'm gonna end it off here. This is part 3. Are the wheels on? That's right. Yeah, I don't have anything more. I gotta clean up. So, all right, there you have it. CEN part 3. It's coming together nicely. Give an up close of it.